Okay. The topic for today is people confusing claims with evidence. So I just had a recent na conversation sa comment section lang sa YouTube. And when I ask for evidence for God, he will say as if like as a matter of fact, like it's really obvious. He will say na, ang daming evidence. The moon, the earth, the sun, tayo. Isn't that evidence that there's a creator? I mean, there could actually be an evidence out there, ano? There could actually be an evidence for a God, and your God could actually be true. Except that that kind of argument is very weak and it's very poor. Kasi, and it's also very lazy. Kasi you claimed that your God created the universe. You claim that your God created the sun and the moon and the stars and everything else, created everything. And at the same time, pag tinanong kayo ng evidence how your God created everything or the existence of your God, sasabihin mo na, well, how about the sun and the moon? Then you're just in a loop. Like, sinabi mo na ginawa ng Diyos mo yung earth, and at the same time, that's evidence for God creating us or creating the universe, or that's the evidence of God. Di ba ang weird? Kasi sinabi mo na gawa to lahat based on your words, and then the evidence na your God exists is because the earth exists. So I'm like honestly I really love to be proven wrong. I really love to be stunned with new information na mali pala talaga ako. Like sa mga debate sa politics, I love to be stunned na ang information ko pala about, like for example, paper and plastic na argument. For example, I'd be an advocate for using paper, and there's may taong papasok ang sasabihin na dyan, alam mo ba na you advocating for the use of paper is just making it's just making it a lot worse for our environment, kasi by producing paper we will be cutting trees, or by using paper we will be it's alam mo ba na ang fact is we use 3 times of energy in producing paper versus producing plastic. Alam mo ba na we're using a lot of water in producing paper, 7 times more compared to using plastic. Alam mo ba na it's just ang kulang na lang natin is us being responsible to reuse or recycle our plastic, and all of this will be solved. So I'm just giving an example now, and I'm also just cherry picking the good arguments against paper. But that would be a really good conversation if you throw something at me na hindi ko pa alam, hindi ko pa narinig, and actual evidence talaga and actual data talaga, instead of you creating just throwing claims again, confusing it like it's an actual evidence. It's like fairies exist, and the fairies are responsible for opening the flowers every morning. They open the flowers up with their magic and with their wands, and that's the reason why there are flowers. I mean, there flowers open their petals. And when I ask, hey, when you give me evidence that that fairy exists, and sasabihin mo na, look at the flowers, it's opening. Isn't that evidence that fairies exist? 'Di ba? Ang stupid. Kasi what I'm really asking is, hey, if those fairies are responsible for opening every flowers every day, I would want to see a video recording, kasi meron na tayong video recording. devices. You would then say na, hey John, hindi sila nagpapakita, hindi sila visible sa ano natin, sa visible light. They are in a different kind of spectrum sa light, and hindi sila nasasagap ng camera. Okay, we can use other tools until we can really see na yung mga fairies talaga ang taga-open ng mga flowers. Kasi yun ang dapat natin ginagawa instead of just lazily saying na look at the flowers, look at the trees, look at the earth, look at the moon. That's so lazy. And that's not very creative. That's you being lazy. Provide evidence. Like, for example, mahirap naman talagang mag-provide ng evidence na ginawa ito or tawag doon, God created everything, di ba? Ang hirap naman, wala naman tayo, hindi naman siguro tayo I doubt we can catch a video of God given the way you describe your God. I doubt na makakapture natin siya sa camera, but we can try to maybe define him or her in a way na masasagap naman, mafe-feel natin yung existence niya. For example, black holes. Like, black holes, 100 years ago, Einstein only predicted that black holes exist using numbers. Kasi wala tayong tools dati to really see what he think exists. So he just created a number, assumed that there's a thing out there in space that is responsible for making these weird movements. Yung mga planets and yung mga galaxies are doing weird movements. And he predicted na there is a thing out there, it's called black hole, and this is how it behaves. He wrote it down in a mathematical formula. Many years later, we have proven Einstein to be correct. We were able to took a picture of black hole. We were able to detect the gravitational waves, also predicted by Einstein that gravitational waves exist. Na it is caused daw by two black holes colliding. We felt the gravitational waves using our tools. I mean, hindi ba pwedeng ganun na lang, hindi ba pwedeng ganun natin ma-detect yung kiniklaim mo na meron? Hindi ba pwedeng ganun? If wala palang tools na pwedeng makadetect, why are you so sure that there is a God? I mean, the safest thing you could say is we don't know. That's the honest na, let's say you heard a story that there is a God and you felt God in your heart, and it seems that lahat ng mga actions na ginagawa mo sa life mo, parang meron talagang nakikinig at nanunood na Diyos, or meron talagang ina-arrange niya lahat ng mga life circumstances mo para mag-arrive ka lang sa kung saan ka ngayon. If you felt like that and you felt weird, isn't the conclusion ganito na, hey, I felt like I've been guided by God, but I can't prove na God talaga ito, therefore I don't know. Hindi ba pwedeng ganun dapat? Nagja-jump ka kasi sa conclusion na wala ka namang matibay na ebidensya to have it be relatable to other people. Kasi if you share that to me, I would have very different interpretations of what you just experienced. I can give you examples na mai-invalidate yung experience mo. For example, I can say, hey, does God listen to only you? Sa'yo lang ba nakikinig ang Diyos mo and sa other people hindi? Kasi I've had that conversation with my cousins eh. He said na he felt na yung pagpasa niya sa exam is because guided siya ng God. But when I gave examples na, hey, so ginaid ka niya, pero yung mga 10 years na natrap sa dungeon, nire-rape everyday ng mga rapist, yung ginawang sex slave, currently happening now. Hindi sila ginaid. Ang sagot niya is this. Sinabi niya at some point na they were not faithful enough or may kasalanan yung papa niya. That's the tendency. You have to create stories up because you just created a story for yourself. So you are free to create another story na wala namang basihan. So yun, gumawa ka na ng kwento na yung taong na-rape is hindi pala faithful. That's so shitty of you, man. That's so, ang basura ng ugali na ganyan na you are judging now na hindi mo kilala na babae na 10 years nang natrap sa isang basement somewhere. And you are judging na she is not faithful enough. Diba? That's because you already created a story for yourself. And what's not stopping you from creating another story for other people just to justify your story? It's so hard. For me, it's really easy. If I experience some weird shit na hindi ko ma-explain, my conclusion is, I don't know any explanation to this thing, therefore I don't know. That's it. I don't have to create any stories. I don't have to imagine that there's someone looking after me. I don't have to make stories na ako yung pinapansin, yung iba hindi, yung iba nire-rape. Siguro hindi sila mahal ng Diyos. I don't have to create that story. I just have to observe what's real, and that's it. What's real is there are people that gets raped every day. There are people that's good, that's being na faithful, that gets raped. There are good people that has the worst experience in life and hindi nananagot yung mga taong may kasalanan. There are bad people that has the best life experience here on earth, and that's the reality. Gumagawa ka ng story, gumagawa ka na yung criminal na yan, I bet pag namatay yan, diretso yan sa impyerno. You are creating story. I don't have to. What I have to do is to support laws that will definitely catch those criminals. I will support systems that will guarantee in catching those criminals. I want them to answer to their sins or their crimes here on earth, not on the afterlife, because that's not a guarantee that there is a hell up there or up down there. So I have to work. I have to exert effort in supporting people that will fight bad people. So yun.